So welcome everyone to this webinar about how you can create a fully automated user feedback workflow using a couple of products that are listed on the screen right now, but generally how you can create an automated feedback workflow to streamline your feedback collection and analysis process and actually get more out of the entire process. We're going to jump right in. As always, we like to start these webinars off with intros. This webinar is hosted by two companies today. It's hosted by TARS, who are the regular hosts of this webinar series. We have been around since 2016, helping marketers boost their conversion rates using conversational tech. But not just that, we help customer service execs automate their customer service queries. We help folks working on product collect feedback, as you will see on this webinar. Anytime you want to have a conversation with a customer, anytime where it would be ideal for you to have a conversation with a customer, we can help you get that done in an automated fashion without actually having to invest any of your team's bandwidth to get it done. Today, we are privileged to be joined by the folks over at Broadcamp, who built an amazing product to help you get a hold of your feedback workflows. And rather than butchering their introduction for you guys, I'm going to hand it off to the Broadcamp team who's with us today to tell us a little bit about what they are up to.
Hey, yeah, thank you for the intro. So it's a real pleasure to be here today. And so our part is about leveraging customer feedback to be able to really get customers happy and engage to, become customers in the first place and become more engaged with the product, buy more, and refer all the customers, increase revenue ultimately, all through improving customer experience.
Awesome. And in terms of who we are specifically as hosts, today is our first webinar with 4 hosts. So we had to, for the first time ever, move our, we have to do our host introductions across 2 slides. So the hosts from the TARS side are Levi and I. So I'm the regular host of these webinars. If you have attended one of our webinars before, you will know who I am. I'm Arnav, I'm a content marketer over here at TARS. And essentially what that means is I make content just like this webinar to help you guys use chatbots to achieve your business goals. From our side, I am joined by Levi. Levi, over to you to give a little bit of an intro for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Levi. I've been working in the chatbot space for 4 years now, working on enterprise level, mid-market type deployments. And I have a lot of experience actually in this feedback collection topic and how to better generate feedback from your users. So that's going to be my role today, is talking about that. And now we could hand it off to the Broadcamp folks.
Yep. Oh gosh, it's weird having 4 hosts on, but good. Over to you guys.
Yeah. So since I'm on the left, I will start first. My name is Anton Zorin. I do product at Broadcamp. Well, happy to be here. Thank you guys for inviting us. And yeah, so we'll talk a bit more how you can collect feedback, how you can prioritize, analyze, and what to do with it after you collected it. So yeah, Matej, to you.
Yeah, so I'm the co-founder at Broadcamp, and actually Anton is shy, but he's a father of the Broadcamp idea, and that deserves to be said. So I'm gonna say it. And I joined later, driving revenue and customer acquisition, and doing a bit of product, helping Anton drive that on in Broadcamp. And I have experience in the software as a service industry, leading customer-facing teams and revenue teams for several years now. So I faced the feedback collection issue myself in my role and with my teams, and Anton as well. And this is how we came to try to improve this for others.
Awesome. So in terms of what we are going to be covering in today's webinar, this is a quick overview of what the next hour or so will look like. In the first section, Matti is going to walk us through essentially the context for why we are on this webinar today. So why feedback is important. I mean, most of you guys, if you've signed up for this webinar, already probably know the importance of feedback. That's why you guys joined for a topic like this. But I always find that it helps to get us all on the same page. Often I find that when I do watch a webinar and they do give me some context on a topic I already know, but I often learn something myself. But just to get us all on the same page, Mate is going to give us some context about why we're here today, why the topic we're discussing is important. Then in section 2, we're going to hand it over to Levi to talk about how you can improve feedback collection using automation. Then we'll hand it over to Anton to talk about how you can improve feedback analysis using automation. And then in sections 4 and 5, these are the most fun sections. We're going to try to allocate as much time as possible for these sections. We're going to actually show you a live demo of how some of the tactics that we talk about in sections 2 and 3 actually look in person, and then in the final section we'll open up the floor for questions so that you guys can get any questions that you have about the tactics that we share off your chest. Also, really quick, before we continue in the webinar, a couple of points to note. You can share questions with us while we are doing the webinar. Don't feel shy about that. If it makes sense for us to respond to it while we're going along, we'll be sure to do that. But please feel free to drop your questions into the Q&A section or in the chat as we are going along with the webinar. And as always, we will be sending a recording of this webinar out to you guys. So if you guys need to leave early but don't want to miss the webinar, don't worry. We will send you a recording after the webinar is done. So with that, we can move on to the first section.
Right. So really what we are going to talk about in this section is about a few things that were game changer for most of the industries, and the main thing being internet. It has totally reframed customer expectations. We are facing now customers and clients and prospects that are more and more educated, doing more and more research on the internet before buying a product. And meanwhile using a product as well. So they will, be able to access this information really quick, and they will take action based on that. And on the other hand, business who kind of fail to deliver on their promises will get an immediate impact, because information will go out there, will grow on the internet, on the Reddit or elsewhere. There is 1,000 ways to access and share this information nowadays, and the impact on the business bottom line will be immediate. We've seen that happening with many companies over the last years. So it's definitely a big question for and a big mark to hit for all the companies out there nowadays. And essentially, feedback is more important than ever because there is a lot of competition out there, and to be able to achieve quality, keep growing, keep making sure you're taking the right decisions that actually will influence your customer happiness, customer experience, and ultimately the way they buy, then talk about the product you're selling. You have to have a really clear understanding of the evolution of those needs over time as well. So keeping a good track of that, being able to capture this data early in an easy way, and being able to link it to actually actionable things is essential right now. And feedback gives us this opportunity. And moreover, because we are also entering in an age where as I said before, information is key, but also competition is more and more important. Whatever product you're developing, it's true with software, that software is really easy to develop, but it's true with any type of product. Nowadays, you can really easy, get logistic done with so many services. You can launch your business pretty much in your kitchen, buy a 3D printer and start making your own products at home. And so getting into the market is really easy. And so competition on every side in any business, any sector is really growing quick. And so you have to stay ahead in the race. And for that, you have to know what your customer need and how their need evolve through time to keep it up. So the whole flow we're looking at is here, capturing this data, being able to collect it in an easy way, from wherever is your customers. Nowadays, we have all companies confounded have a tendencies to just ask feedback for the customers on their own schedule. So, and that's obviously impacting the quality of the data any company can get and the volume of it. People will either give feedback when they are really not happy or really happy, and you will miss a lot of things in the middle. And it's really time consuming for any customer to really give feedback to a company. And also they are poorly kept in the loop after this feedback is sent over. So gathering the feedback through a chatbot in our case is really smoothing the process, but all in all, giving as many channels as possible to users to easily give feedback is a great way to get feedback from more than the 20% customers that actually give it anyway, but get more of the 80% we really want to listen to. And then learn about it, be able to organize this data, to be able to link it to actually feature specific product, and to pass it on in an easy way. So it's not only an information that you record somewhere, but something that you can actually turn into execution. And that means applying it and being able to be aligned with your engineering team to be able to make the magic happen behind the scene and ship it back the right things to your customers and let them know about it, because that's also really important. They need to know, customers need to know that they have been heard, and that will drastically improve their experience and happiness. And so our focus for today, I don't know if you got it, is gather and learn. So we'll have the Taros team focus on the gather part, and we'll show you, we'll demonstrate how Broadcamp can help you with the learn part, and ultimately how we can ship it to the engineering team and for execution and moving down the line.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Thank you for that context, Mate. I think a key takeaway from me from that is that this doesn't really apply only to software teams anymore. I think when we were preparing for this webinar, you were talking about how when you guys launched, you expected to only find software teams signing up, but you found all manner of different organizations signing up, which you did not expect. Just because feedback seems to be so important. This feedback loop that we're talking about today seems to be so important, regardless of what domain you are working in today.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. We've been really surprised. We coming, all the team is coming from the software industry, and this is a problem we've met there for sure. But it's true that in the first months after the launch, we've been seeing all kind of companies really, and not only companies, actually, organizations looking to get the people they work for information from them and keep them in the loop. And that has been really bringing a lot of clarity in our mind about the fact that actually this is not only for the software, it's for everyone that has a product, that have customers, and that want to make them happy and sell more.
Right, absolutely. So we're going to hand it over to Levi now to talk about how you can improve feedback collection using automation.
Great. Yeah. And I think one thing to point out too is TARS actually had a similar experience with when they finally launched years ago, that all sorts of different companies and organizations started utilizing the platform too. And in my opinion, that's when you have a really good product, right? Because yes, there's a niche element to it, but it actually communicates and connects with a lot of different people and organizations. And that's really key. And it's actually what we're going to talk about with improving feedback collection. And to start, we're actually going to cover why we are not getting the feedback that we need in the first place. Basically, why do you have a poor conversion rate on your feedback funnel? So Matti said a little bit about this, right? Users are not going out of their way to give you feedback, and mostly because it's very hard to do so in the first place. It's not a simple process. The exception, of course, is some happy users, and usually those are pretty overjoyed, and they really enjoyed their experience, so they're willing to give that feedback. Or pretty much all of your very angry ones, right? So if you're angry, you're very much more likely to be giving that feedback. And the problem with both of those, that 20%, so to speak, is that there's a very high emotional charge to it, right? There's an emotional layer to it, which is clouding them from actually giving you actionable feedback. On occasion, you'll get it, right? From the angry ones, they'll be like, this doesn't work, there's a bug here, this is not working for me at all. So there's some actionable feedback there. But say the happy users are just like, this is the greatest product I've ever used, I love it. What are you going to use that? How are you going to use that feedback to improve the experience? Well, you can't really, right? So it's clouded by that emotion. The 80% of users that are in between hold the actual bulk of actionable insights, and the key is to reach them. So really what we're talking about when we're talking about poor conversion rate is that we don't have enough channels, and we haven't made it easy enough for the user to actually give that feedback. And really the solution to this in a big chunk of it is chatbots. And the reason being is because if you've ever had a conversation with somebody, we're very conversationally driven beings, and we are much more likely to actually reveal feedback through conversation when asked for it, right? This particularly doesn't work well when you send somebody a link and say, hey, can you fill out this 15-minute form? They're not really gonna respond well to that. So you're again funneling into your very happy or very angry customers. The key, though, is actually capturing folks in the moment, right? When they are interacting with the product or even potentially interacting with a chatbot, to then collect those key insights without breaking the experience. This is super key, right? It has to be quick, it has to be easy, it has to be something they relate to and is common for them to do. And it can even be accomplished without them realizing they're giving the feedback. And honestly, that can be some of the best feedback you can collect. So really what this means is that chatbots create that conversational layer, and they can be deployed either on the product side, on your website, through omni-channel approaches, email, whatever it may be, where you're trying to reach out to these folks. And you can create those multiple channels that actually create intimacy at scale, as we like to say, right? So conversations, one-on-one conversations, even automated, feel more intimate. They feel more personalized. They feel like you actually care about your customer. And if you're taking these steps to interact and engage with them, and then what we're going to move to just after this with Broadcamp, which is to actually analyze and make actionable results based on that feedback, you do, right? You do care about your customer and you want to hear what they say. So it really creates a much more engaging layer for them. And another thing with chatbots that's really interesting is when somebody's interacting with a chatbot, you can actually kind of mask questions that are really driving to feedback, but are much more easier for the user to respond to, right? It's not like, hey, can you rate this? Hey, can you tell us, was your experience excellent, or this or that or that? You can simply ask them questions that maybe are yes or no, maybe are a little more engaged or a little more focused on them, that will have them providing feedback without really realizing it. And this feedback is very actionable to you. It's also very consistent, very structured, and you can then use it to hand off to your Broadcamp platform, for example, and start doing the real work that needs to happen, right? So we need to collect a lot more feedback. Chatbots create that omni-channel approach that's conversational and engages a lot more of those users. And a good example of this, and I know you guys probably get sick of hearing about the DMV chatbot, but the DMV chatbot collected thousands of ratings and user feedback. And DMV is like, nobody tells the DMV how, like, everybody just like, it's a terrible experience, right? That's just a general known thing. So people were not giving that organization any feedback. They just never had any real actionable feedback. And the chatbot, once deployed, started flowing in thousands of user comments and ratings. And a big part of that, which is very interesting, is that they started talking about, it was set up for them to give feedback about the chatbot, but they ended up giving feedback about the website, about the applications are built around the website, about everything else other than the chatbot itself as well. So it became this huge funnel, right? That was bringing in tons and tons of feedback. The only problem with that is there was no real way, other than me personally, to analyze and create actionable intentions off of that. So that's really where Broadcamp comes in, because I wish 3 years ago, whenever that was, I wish I had Broadcamp to help me with this process. And they're here to explain why.
All right. So I will take over right now.
Yeah.
And I will share my screen. Oh, we go like this? Okay, so that's fine. So Broadcamp is a multi-channel customer feedback management platform. So it's the single place for companies to collect and store their feedback. And based on that feedback, they can, all right, so now I can share. All right. So yeah, so this is the single place for companies to collect feedback. There you can analyze it, you can connect it to different features. After that, you can prioritize it. You can pull data from Salesforce. You can analyze it and prioritize it based on estimation of your effort or some other things that you can do. And of course, the closing the feedback loop is crucial because your customers will only know when some improvements was shipped when you tell them. So we talked already about the problem space. So this is the solution space, and the collect feedback is we talked today about collecting feedback with a chatbot. So the first step is collecting via chatbot. Then we analyze, and that's what I briefly described already. So we connect it to a feature, then we read customer insights, and we leverage this feedback to build something meaningful for the dev team to basically ship what customers actually need. Prioritize and act, the next step. So you decide what feature or which feature you prioritize over another, and you can have like 3 different dimensions on like which feature should be prioritized and put to the development sooner. So number of upvotes is important, but of course if you have and everyone has internal stakeholders that tell you what is the strategy, and you can combine strategic features and some features coming from customers to make them delighted. So dollar estimation from Salesforce, and number of upvotes and effort estimation, of course. How long will it take you to ship certain improvement? And once you collect all that, once you prioritize all that, you can ship it, you can push it to Jira and pass the ball to the dev team. And then last but not least, important thing is close the feedback loop. So you close the feedback loop as soon as an improvement was shipped, or you can share your public roadmap and let them know what you're working on and what was released just now. For some companies, public roadmap doesn't work, but closing the feedback loop is very important for businesses to succeed. So this is a basic diagram of how it works right now. So normally we would have different, various channels how we can collect feedback. And normally it goes through customer-facing teams, and then it goes to product and it's stored somewhere. With the chatbot, you can either you can work with customer-facing teams, or you can just bypass it and go to Broadcamp directly, and further to product. And along this way, as your engineering team gets the feature to develop, and once they develop it, customers become happier because you focus on what's needed and what will actually resolve problems. So, and the result, happy customers, they talk more, they share with their peers and colleagues about their experience. It's more of word of mouth. Product team has an action plan, so they know what exactly to build, and companies also don't waste time and other resources on building something that customers don't really want. So, and let me now switch to a demo. And together with Tar's team, we have created a chatbot. So a chatbot which consists of several gambits, and there, I have it already launched here. So we launch a chatbot, or it can be on a separate page, standalone page, or it can be embedded to your website, something like that. So you click collect feedback, submit feedback, and you have some messages from the bot that you can programmatically put there. So it asks for you to provide the feedback, and let me put matei.broadcamp.com, because this is what we created for the demo. Yeah, and the demo. So if you have many products, you can specify which product you would like to provide this feedback for. So you click demo. This is what we provisioned for this, and what you would like to suggest. Let it be French cuisine on the spaceship, because we have a spaceship space theme, and mission to Mars is our demo theme here. And so we have here, this is the interface for Broadcamp. So we see there was a new feedback was created. We can just either refresh the page or just click open. It refreshes the page, and you can see that Matei from this company, because we have it already in the system, has this feedback, and you can connect it to a certain feature already. So we have some of them provisioned. Space food facilities. So it's the theme. So and once we will work on some features here, we will see that a customer whose name is Matei from company Broadcamp, he requested this feature, and where is it? Space food facilities. Yeah, so we can just click it. We can see that the two customers already requested it, and Matei is one of them. We can check their insights, and yes, so when you describe in a feature, when you work on that, you can see some insights here, and there you can prioritize it based on the several things, several metrics that I mentioned. So the number of votes, the effort, and the size of the bubble is basically the dollar revenue from either Salesforce or from this built-in super basic CRM. So once you do that, you go to a feature, you click that, and you click push to Jira, and you pass the ball to the development team. So as simple as that. And once you do that, yeah, let me show it to you. So Matei, once we make it processed, Matei will receive a notification that his feedback is now well, they can track the feedback here on this public roadmap. There is he'll be subscribed to this, and he will get all the notifications about the state of the feature. That's pretty much it for the demo. So this is the whole flow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Anton. So I think now what we'll do is we'll open up the floor to questions and answers. And Anton, I'm just going to take over the screen share for just
Absolutely.
a minute, to put on the contact us slide, because I know that at this point a lot of people have to jump off because they have other stuff to do, and we've pretty much gone through we've pretty much gone through the entire demo. So if you do need to jump off and you want to get in touch with us to learn more about the stuff that we spoke about today, these are our contact details. You can contact either Broadcamp or Atars using any of these channels. I'll leave this up, but till then, I see that we still have a lot of folks on the webinar right now. If you guys have any questions for us, if you want us to run through anything again in the demo, if you guys want us to run through anything again from our slides, feel free to let us know right now. We will be on for at least another 15 minutes if you guys need it to answer your guys' questions. And now we wait because I assume that everyone in the audience is frantically typing out their questions to get them in on time.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
One thing to bring up while we wait is we haven't really touched on this, but there is some there's some value in talking about strategically timing when you ask for feedback from your users as well. And one of the best use cases that I've pretty much ever thought of for this approach is, and this is mostly e-commerce, but it's okay. So say you're an e-commerce company or a retail company, and somebody buys your product and then they go to return it, right? And when that return happens, that's a critical moment to collect feedback. So there you can actually time your feedback, right, to be very relevant and actionable to the user, which is going to increase that feedback collection too. So we hadn't really gotten into much on the strategy side, but thinking about that, like timing, is it relevant to the user? When do we get relevant with the user? That's when they're going to be more apt to send that feedback. So one thing that I did mention is with chatbots, while you're in the flow, while you're conversating with the chatbot, it is almost always relevant to ask for feedback. It has to be strategic, but because they're in that moment, it's very similar to like mobile apps while you're using it. And it's like, hey, did you enjoy this? Can you rate it real quick? Right? That's their way of grabbing ratings, grabbing feedback. Similarly, a chatbot does the same thing by engaging the user in the conversation for that feedback, where it's part of the experience. It's not weird, and they're much more likely to reveal that stuff to you. So just something to consider.
And actually, Levi, it's very interesting that you raised that point because, I mean, in a sense, a lot of what you're talking about and a lot of what we've been talking about today, at least on the gathering side, and even on the analysis side, is actually quite similar to marketing. We talk about conversion rate optimization and the conversion rate problem a lot. We talk about it explicitly in digital marketing contexts because each click that you get has a specific dollar value associated with it. But the same principles apply to all of these other contexts, like, for example, feedback collection, where you need to pay attention to a lot of the same considerations to ensure that you're getting as much feedback as possible. And timing when your feedback, when to ask for feedback is another example of a consideration that you would otherwise make another consideration which digital marketers maybe think about a little bit more explicitly that can be brought over to the domain of feedback collection to improve the process.
Yeah, I like it. It's a great point, guys. Timing for sure, and the other aspect of it, I think is interesting to bring up, and we touched it actually in the very intro of this webinar, while we were waiting for the attendees to join, is a full on-demand thing, right? So think about it. It's a great thing to come on and in and ask the right question at the right time, that's for sure. And at the same time, everyone wants to be able to easily give what they want to give at the times they want to give it and the way they want to give. So like the whole idea of the chatbot is all about it. And on the Broadcamp side, on the other hand, our ability to offer this real multi-channel approach to feedback and really comply to what the customer expects there in terms of leaving a feedback is really powerful in that sense as well.
Absolutely. And on that note, just diving just a touch bit deeper into that, what we did show on the chatbot side was the conversational landing page feature that all chatbots come with. But there is actually many ways to deploy it, including WhatsApp, which is kind of a really interesting concept, right? It's a channel that a lot of people in a lot of different countries use as their number one messaging app. And opening up channels like that through automation, which makes it scalable and actually capable of handling the flow that you're trying to get from your users, but also they can be deployed, say, as a widget on your product in your platform. And at any point, if the user feels like they want to give feedback, you can actually add call to actions around that area that when clicked, open the chatbot from a starting point that starts collecting that feedback where it's relevant, right? So you can actually engage the chatbot much quicker and when the timing is right. So we couldn't always cover all of this stuff in a webinar with limited time, but there's so many different ways to be driving this traffic. And it's not all just about the chatbot. Obviously there's many other ways to approach it too, but it's in my opinion, one of the critical puzzles pieces to being able to capture this when it's relevant and timely.
Right, and I've actually pulled up the Qatar's website here, where you can see the chatbot in action through a widget. So this is what it would look like if the chatbot was deployed to your product or to your website as a widget. And notably, a lot of folks have asked us in the past whether they can deploy this within their app if your product is primarily accessed through an app. And you can actually take this exact same chatbot and embed it within your app as a web view. It's actually pretty easy to do. But as Anton pointed out, we do have a question in the chat. I knew that you guys were frantically typing up there. So how do we get the feedback demo bot? Great question. So the beauty of this demo chatbot is that we made it specifically for this webinar. So if you're interested in using it yourself, you can either reach out to us or someone from my team will drop a link to a demo booking appointment over here. Yep, there you go. Someone from my team just dropped a link to a demo booking appointment. Book a free demo with us. And what we will do on that demo is we'll actually take the chatbot for you and set it up for you specific to your company, specific to your product. And we'll also coordinate with Broadcamp team folks to ensure that the data is going to the right place, making it to your Broadcamp dashboard so that you can you have the entire journey of feedback collection and analysis sorted for you. So go ahead and book a demo with us, or again, reach out to us through any of these channels that you can see over here. And we will be more than happy to take the demo that we created and customize it for your specific use case for your specific product. And with that, I think
I'm so happy to see this kind of questions coming up at the end of the demo. It's mean we did a good job, and
right.
I like it.
Exactly. And it gives us some validation for the demo that people actually want to check out the demo after. So that works quite well. It doesn't seem like we're getting any more questions right now, so I'm going to very slowly end this webinar to give you guys a last opportunity to submit your questions over here. But barring any more questions, I think we can end the webinar over there. Thank you all for joining us. It has been a pleasure hosting this webinar for you guys. I often feel like a flight attendant when I'm ending these webinars because it feels like we're coming to the end of the flight. But thank you all for joining us. And please be sure to one, keep a lookout for our emails about future webinars, to keep a lookout about our email about the recording as well. If you want to rewatch this webinar, if you want to recap it for whatever reason, if you want to cast it up on your TV to show your family and your friends, if they're into feedback collection as well. Be sure to do that. Also keep a lookout for our future webinars. We are constantly hosting webinars over here at DARS. My colleague has actually shared a link to our webinar page in the chat. So be sure to check that out. We post new webinars there every single week. So if you're interested in learning more about chatbots, all the sorts of business processes that you can automate using chatbots, be sure to keep a lookout on that page and on our emails to find out more about our webinars. But we'll leave it there. Thank you to the Broadcamp folks for joining us for this webinar. It was an absolute privilege having you guys on. I think you guys have built an amazing product, and the connection between having a chatbot on the front end and a system like Broadcamp on the back end makes for a complete feedback solution that actually delivers value to businesses.
It's magic, and it was a blast. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And may I say that it may be called a game changer, possibly.
Yeah.
This connection of these two softwares. Yep.
Yeah, there is something here.
Yep. All right. I will end it there.
Thank you, everyone.
you.
Good evening.